All right, I just decided to start early because I'm chilling here and I have nothing particular to do. I had dinner, brushed my teeth, pretty much ready for bed. It's only like it's not even 7 o'clock. All right. So how are you guys doing? I'm coming in loud and clear, right? Still getting good signal. We changed the internet antenna a week and a half ago, and it seems to be getting better signal now. I don't know if the old antenna was just getting old and crappy, or if the new one's an upgrade or whatever. Either way, the new antenna I installed seems to be doing good. Yes, fighting through the weeds. How was my day? Great. How was my day? I was feeling pretty tired. I spent today mostly sewing, and my kids were building spaceships with boxes. And I just sewed a lot. So I sewed this shirt because my wardrobe has been getting pretty beat up. And what I usually do when my clothes are getting all wrecked is I'll make some new clothes. So I haven't done that in a while because the last time I tried to make myself a shirt, I was distracted, not paying attention, and I totally screwed it up and didn't make it the right size. Like I used some non-stretchy cloth, and I was using the pattern that fits me if it's stretchy cloth. So like I can make a t-shirt like with knit cotton with this pattern and it'll fit me right. But I was just using it on non-stretchy stuff, so it totally did not fit me. So I ended up giving the shirt to my daughter. It fit her kind of like huge on her, but whatever. And then after that, I was like, oh, I'm such an idiot. And I haven't sewed anything for like, I don't know, the last month. And then today I was like, all right, I have to at least make myself a new shirt. I have no long sleeve shirts. My last long sleeve shirt was the one I wore to the hospital that time I cut my arm, right there. Oh, yeah, but by the way, there's my scar from when I cut my arm. Yeah, it's like pretty much gone. Anyway, when I wore my long sleeve shirt to the hospital, they cut one sleeve off. Well, they cut this sleeve off to get to my arm to fix it up. And then I go bugged some lady. I was like, "Can you cut my other one off?" So that shirt has two cut off sleeves, totally uneven. But anyway, that was my last long sleeve shirt that wasn't completely falling apart. And I was outside digging the other day in the sun in a short sleeve shirt, just going, "Oh man, I'm just getting cooked out here." And I also realized I don't have a hat that covers my ears and my neck, and my neck was starting to kind of get itchy, like when you get too much sun on your skin. And then here, let me get my hat. It's right over here. Be right back in a second. Oh yeah, I also have new shorts. Haha, nice, snazzy, eh? All right. So yeah, I spent today sewing myself a new outfit. Which way does my hat go? Wait, there's a line somewhere. Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty much like that. There's my new hat, and I can pull it down if I really need some good protection and whatever. But if I want to be able to see better, I can kind of pop it up. It's like just the right snugness that it can sit up high, or I can pull it down and it kind of gets past a point. And when it's down like this, the wind won't blow it off easily. It's like just the right tightness to not fall off. And it covers most of my neck. And then the shirt I made has a pretty tall collar. Ha ha ha. So if I'm out digging in the sun, I can wear my hat and my shirt, and I'm not getting cooked in the sun, which is great. Now you might be thinking, "Oh, Jaimie, but what are you going to do with that shirt? It looks hot. It looks like you're going to be so hot wearing something like that, right?" Except the shirt's made out of linen, which is flax. I think they take flax from some flax plant. So it's not cotton. If this was cotton, I'd be sweating bullets right now. But it's not. It's flax, linen. And I did not realize. Like I've heard that linen is nice and cool. It doesn't get hot. I did not know how good it was going to be. Ah man, this shirt is amazing. I made it 3 days ago, and I've worn it for 3 days straight, and I've washed it every day because it's just, I love this shirt. It's amazing. Like, it's so cool. Like, I almost feel like it's got like built-in air conditioning or something. It's so great. Like, if I'm out in the sun, I feel cooler wearing this than I do wearing nothing. It's pretty sweet. Oh, what else is going on here? Wait, let me just see the comments. Oh yeah, and linen is also supposed to be really durable. Like, it's supposed to last a long time, so it should be able to take lots of damage. And I have hand washed it 3 times in a row, and I've gone swimming in the ocean, and it still looks like pretty much exactly the same as when I made it. And I have enough of this cloth to make, like, I don't know, 10 shirts or so, and I have another color too. Great. How was your day? Just popping by before I sleep. Oh, good sleep. Just wanted to say thank you for all of the videos over the years. Have been awesome watching you since the old giant robot videos. Well, thank you for watching, and you're very welcome. Sweet, better lighting tonight. Oh yeah. So yeah, I actually set up a little bit of, lighting today. Instead of just having the light, like a light blasting at my face, I was like, well, why don't I take like 4.5 seconds and actually set up something that's decent? So I have a light aimed at a white board, and then that bounces at me. So it's not so harsh. It's, much better than what I've had. Color should be white. Oh, my shirt? I do have white, but the white has like, I don't know, like little kitchen pictures and words, kind of like you'd see on a tablecloth or something, which I think is super cool. I'm gonna have to make another shirt with that. I don't know. I just wanted to make one blue one, but even, I was a little worried that the color was going to be really hot, but it's not. Like, I can go out in the sun in this, and it's great. This is so much better than wearing like a cotton shirt. Anyway, so what was I going to talk about today? I was just roaming around my house, walking around thinking, oh, I got this live to do. Let me think of what I want to talk about. And, I've kind of had it in the back of my head a little bit. Come on, Jaimie, think of something to talk about this week. But I couldn't really come up with anything good. I was just like, man, I can't think of anything because I'm just feeling overwhelmed. I have a lot going on. I have all these different projects, and I know I'm making good progress because I have this paper that I keep writing down things I need to do and then crossing off other things. So I know I'm making good progress. And then, I go outside and look around, and I'm like, okay, this was not here like a week ago, and neither was that. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. I'm making progress. But it's just hard to keep track of everything. Like, my brain is just being like, I don't know what to do, man. I'm trying to keep track of it all and just keep making progress and keep going and going and going. And I keep getting this feeling that, like, I'm not getting anywhere, even though I know I am, And someone asked a question about this last week, and I don't remember exactly how they said it. And I did answer it then. But the question was basically, Jaimie, I'm like working so hard and trying to make progress on all this stuff, but I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels, like how do you deal with that? And I feel like I'm totally having that situation today and, over the last week. And really, it's been building up for probably like the last couple months, I guess. Honestly, it's like ever since I started kind of trying to more actively meet a female partner kind of thing, because I've been more social and talking to more people. Talking to people is exhausting because, I'm not a huge extrovert. I can socialize and all that, but like when I've got a lot of projects going on, I don't want to talk to people that much. But I'm trying to meet someone, right? And so I've been talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people are not. There's a lot of dumb people in the world, so I don't want to insult anyone or get too in depth about that. But anyway, it's just a little bit more attention being sucked away in other things, and then trying to keep track of all these different projects I have going on, and all these things I need to do, and all these goals I have. And my brain is it's just like. Yeah, I feel like that guy was saying, like I feel like I'm just running on this endless treadmill, and I'm not getting anywhere, even though I know I'm getting somewhere. I'm definitely getting somewhere. So when this happens to me, I think about things in my past. I'm like, okay, I'm in this situation where I feel like things aren't going as well as they should or could or whatever. Although even though intellectually, like logically, I know it's going pretty amazingly well. So where have I had this situation before? And when I think about the times in the past, I've had this situation so many times in the past, like paying off university loans. It was just endlessly like, here's all my money. Oh, here's all my money. Oh, here's all my money. Let's see how much is left. Oh, wow. Still a lot of money left. Here's all the money just every month. But, you know, I paid it off in less than a year. And then I was like, oh, thank God it's done. Like, and I got to the end and it was done. Or like when I first moved off grid, I was, well, the first month I just chilled. I was like, I'm just going to camp and just get used to life without, you know, just the man chomping at my ass. You know, I'm just going to live, just chill, just live in a tent, wake up in the morning and just see what I need to do just to live, you know, not chase some friggin' dollars or whatever. Anyway, but once I started, you know, building a house and setting up water and the solar panels, you know, the electricity stuff and like, you know, planting some food and setting up lumber mills and just like doing all this stuff, it just felt like it was this constant, endless thing. I was constantly working all the time, so hard to try to make life better. And it was the exact same situation I'm feeling right now where I was like, you know I'm making progress. Like there's a house here that didn't used to be here. There's that thing there that didn't used to be there. I did that and I'm getting all this stuff done. I just feel like it's just this never-ending thing. And then one day, about 5 years into my first off-grid experience, it was in the winter, and I was on the second floor of my dome. I built this, well, I was going to say this big dome in Vermont, but I mean, I could fit 6 of that dome inside the one I'm in right now. This one is way bigger. So I don't know. I built this dome anyway in Vermont, and I was sitting on the second floor, just sitting on just some thing. And I was just like, and just took a breath, you know? And I was just chilling for a second, looking outside, and I was looking through these windows. It was 2 stories tall of glass, and the windows wrapped halfway around the building. It was just this huge panorama of glass. And outside, it was snowing. The snow was coming down. Everything was covered white. And the sun was coming in the windows, and the windows were facing south. And in the winter, the sun was so low that it just blasted right in and heated up the whole house. So I'm sitting there, and it's obviously freezing cold outside because it's snowing. And I wasn't wearing a shirt. I was just wearing my shorts, nothing else. Just chilling, feeling comfortable. And the house was warm. And I was like, I think I'm okay. Like, I think things are good. And I was like, I got food downstairs. I mean, enough food for like 2 months if I really wanted to, you know, see how far it would go. I've got unlimited water. I've got a whole bunch of firewood stored up. I've got unlimited firewood outside. And, you know, I'm just looking around. Like, the house is warm. I don't even have a fire going. I'm currently using no resources. No bills are chomping at my butt except land tax. I had land tax at the time. But other than that, you know, I was just chilling, you know, and I had just felt like I had things taken care of. And I was staring at those windows at this beautiful scene thinking, I'm good. Like, I can chill. Doesn't mean I'm just going to chill. I'm going to do more stuff, but like, I've got it under control. You know, I'm not drowning. I'm above water. I've got basically things taken care of. I'm good, you know? And from that point on, just life was much more relaxing, you know, like I just felt like I had things kind of taken care of. And that day, I didn't see it coming. I felt like I was just on this treadmill, just just going as hard as I could, and it just seemed endless. And then suddenly that day came, and I was just like, huh, I'm good. So I have to presume maybe I've probably got like 2.5 years or something, 2 or 3 more years of just going like gangbusters before I get this experience again. Maybe I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm going to count on a couple years at least. But if I keep going and keep making good progress and keep making good decisions and keep doing the right things and keep like pushing in the right direction, at some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to get to a point where I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I'll just be walking around or going for a swim or driving around on a boat, or maybe I'll be spearing fish or something, and I'm just going to suddenly get this feeling like, huh, I don't need to rush home to take care of anything. I don't need to like keep track of my food because I got that taken care of. And water I've already gotten taken care of, and electricity is pretty easy. But like at some point, I'm gonna have like a lot of stuff just, and at some point, I'm gonna be growing enough food that I don't even have to go to the grocery store. I don't even have to go anywhere, and I have to presume that I'm gonna get that same relaxed feeling of just like, okay, I'm not done, but I've got it under control. I'm on the right path. I've got a lot of things taken care of. I've got my castle and it's working and things are good. Doesn't mean no problems will come. There's always still stuff to do, but like at some point things will be basically taken care of. Even though it doesn't feel like it right now. So that's kind of what I do when I'm in that situation where I feel like I'm just in the weeds, fighting my way through. When the term "in the weeds" is like when you're in grass that's over your head, so you can't see the big picture, you can't see where you're going, you can't see. All you can see is just the work right ahead of you. You're hacking away through these weeds, you can't see anything, but then all of a sudden you get through the weeds, and it's like, oh, I'm here. So that's what whenever I get that feeling like I'm just in the weeds, just bogged down, and it's hard to keep track of everything. I just try to think of the times in the past that I've had the same situation and just kept working and kept working and kept working and then gotten through, and remind myself that, first, life's not supposed to be easy. If it was supposed to be easy, it'd be boring, but if I just keep working and keep pushing on things, I'm going to get somewhere. It might not be the greatest place in the world, but I'm going to get somewhere, and it's going to be better than right now, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about today. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about. Oh, reporting for duty. Hey, classic dude, Mike. What's going on, man? Thumbs up, everyone. I've heard hemp is good for shirts too. Oh, maybe I should make some hemp shirts. Can I get some hemp cloth? Is that hard to find? It's probably not that hard to find. This was more expensive than I generally like to pay for cloth, although it wasn't that bad. It was $2.50 per yard, because I waited for a half price sale, which took like a year and a half from the time I wanted to get some. But eventually there was a half price sale, and I was like, oh, I'll take it. And it's per yard, and I think it's something like 5 feet wide. And I bought maybe 10 yards of this and 10 yards of the white with the words on it and stuff. Hemp is good for shirts too. What happens if you're wearing a hemp shirt and you light it on fire? Anyway, did you check to see if there was an adjustment on the solar charge controller for batteries, type 7 position, number 7 for lithium? Okay, I put a bit of effort into trying to pry that thing open, man. They do not want you to get into that. And I'm sure, I got it like halfway open, but then I was just like, I got to stop wasting time with this garbage. So, at some point, I just feel like I had to make a moral decision. So for anyone who doesn't know, I bought this solar charge controller that advertises that it'll work with lithium batteries. It has a bunch of different settings and stuff. And I get the thing, and I'm like, okay, how do you change the settings? It's like, okay, you need a special cable, which it doesn't come with. You also need a smartphone, computer, something with the software and the right drivers and blah, blah, blah. We're not even going to get into that. No, I am going to get into that. So anyway, I got the thing, and you need extra stuff. Some of which you may have, which you likely have, like a smartphone or something. Most people have that. But some part that you're just not going to have, like a special Bluetooth adapter or a special USB plug thing that's not a standardized plug. It's just is their weird proprietary thing that no one's going to have that. You have to buy it for like some ridiculous amount of money. So I tried to get the thing working for a while, and at some point I was just like, this is stupid. This is freaking stupid. They're selling a charge controller for solar powered stuff. They're going to be sending this to people who live off grid, who aren't like going to be able to just get this stupid wire easily. Like me, it would take me like a month to get this wire. Plus, I'm not necessarily going to have the right phone and computer and all this. And the thing is, it's the first charge controller I've ever used where you can't do any settings just on the thing. Like every other charge controller I've gotten from every other company, it's got some buttons or dials or some way to input settings. In this thing, there's nothing. No, you got to do it with their special proprietary cable freaking thing. And I tried to get it to work for a while. Made a homemade cable and stuff. And at some point, I was just like, this is stupid. I just got to get rid of this thing and never use that company again and move on. It was Victron, by the way. Never getting any of their crap again. That's just such an idiotic thing to do. Like here's our product that everyone else is making self-contained ones of these. But no, here's ours that you have to buy this, and then you have to buy a bunch of other stuff just to be able to get it to work. Bunch of dicks. God, I hate that crap. So anyway, I'm so disgusted by the entire experience that I am not trying to use it. Maybe I'll use it for some little charging a lead acid battery, which is its default settings. Anyway. Finally caught a live stream. Love your content. Keep doing you, dude. Well, thank you, man. I'll do my best. Artists never stop, Wendy says. They finish a project and then leave it for humanity to try to figure out how brilliant what you did was, or how stupid it was. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. But artists have kind of a tortured life to a large degree, because there's never any satisfaction. And this is actually one of the situations I'm having right now. So I've got there's two main big works of art that I've basically completed. Well, one's complete and the other one just needs one part, the charge controller, because that one turned out to be no good. So I ordered another one. It should the second one I ordered should be here Wednesday-ish. I don't know, sometime this week. I ordered it a faster way than the way I usually get stuff, because there's another way. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But so I've been working on these two masterpieces, right? These two boats. Solar power, pedal power, amazing, cool paint jobs and solar panels and stuff, and they're amazing. And now I'm getting to the point where it's like they're done, and it's like I've known a lot of artists who are like this. Like I get something done, and then there is no satisfaction. It's just like, now I have an empty hole, because I had a purpose, I had something to do, and I was like, this is going to be amazing when I get it done. Yeah, this is going to be the coolest thing ever. It's going to be so awesome. But then the moment it's done, I'm just like, well, now what do I do? No, and it's not that thing doesn't matter anymore. These particular works of art, these boats, will be useful things that I'm going to use for years. But just in terms of the process of the creation of the art, it's like once it's done, it's like now I've got this space. Now I've got to fill it with something else. So I have to come up with a new project, like something else. But it's not like you can just come up with stuff instantly. Or maybe, I could come up with stuff instantly. But every project has got to be something. It's got to meet certain criteria. It can't just be some easy to come up with thing. It's got to be like something that's going to be super amazing, and then I have to figure out how to actually do it. And if it's easy to figure out how to do it, there's no point in doing it. So I have to, yeah, it's just this agonizing, perpetual, endless love affair with creation. It's like agonizing and beautiful at the same time. Like I wouldn't give it up for anything. I love making stuff, but it is also torturous, you know. And I've known a lot of artists who, actually, I shouldn't say I've known a lot of artists. I've known a few artists. The best artists I've known are like that. I've also known, artists who just like do the easiest thing they can come up with that'll make some money. That's not as interesting. Good evening to you, sir. I was wondering about how often you go into town. Well, that depends. If I'm just going for food to town, usually like once a month ish. I mean, sometimes I'll go 2 months without going, but usually about once a month. However, if I'm doing something like when I was building this house here, this one here, yeah, that house, I was going through a lot of cement, so I went every week, at least once a week, to pick up more cement. Yeah, I mean, I would get food too, but yeah, it was a lot of cement trips and other little tool knickknacks and stuff. Mostly I was going for cement, but I guess on average every 2 weeks ish, more or less. Although once I get my little white boat done, that should cut my transit time basically in half. So it won't necessarily be like the whole day gone if I go to town. Like if I can do a 3 or 4 hour round trip to town, spend a couple hours in town, it still leaves me with a chunk of the day I can do stuff. So maybe I'll go more often then. I don't know. Granite says you're my hero, and you spelled your correctly. That's great. Well, thanks, man. I'll try not to let it go to my head. Wrap number 12 wire around old CDs and put them in series and make your own solar panels that way. Wrap number 12 wire around old CDs, put them in series and make your own solar panels. There's got to be more to that explanation than that. Just wrapping number 12 wire, you got to strip it first and have some contact with the layers. I don't know. There's got to be. I'm missing some of the information there. I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe I should look up making solar panels with CDs. That might be interesting, but I do have some solar panels anyway. I'm guessing you'll never name one of your future kids Victron. Yeah. My kids are named alphabetically, so I'd have to have a lot more kids to get to be. You'll never be done with your art. Yep, mostly because your art has a practical and pragmatic use. That is true. Yeah, I mean, even if I can't come up with a reason to make something frivolous, I don't know. I guess I don't really do a lot of frivolous art. I do some. I made a pterodactyl the other day. Should I see if I can find the pterodactyl? All right, let me check if I can find this pterodactyl. If I can't find it in like 10 seconds, like if it's not just obviously apparent, I'll just abandon the search. Oh yeah. I can't believe my daughter actually put it in her cupboard. So I made my daughter a pterodactyl the other day. So I was about to say most of this stuff, the art kind of stuff I do is all practical stuff, but occasionally I'll make a wood pterodactyl. Oh, and this is out of that the coconut wood. And it's pretty good. It's all dried out now. It lost a lot of weight. So the coconut wood had a lot of moisture in it, and now it's significantly lighter, but it's strong. I don't know how strong. I haven't tried to break it or anything. It's pretty strong. And obviously it isn't blue. I painted that. Anyway, but yeah, most of the stuff I make, the artsy stuff I make is practical. Although I also do, now this is practical too. Reminds me to do the right thing. Let's see. The art part of those projects in the swag you add, that's the fun of watching your projects. Yeah, so whenever I'm making the practical use items, machines and stuff. Yeah, I always got to do some, put my creative spirit into it. I don't want to just, it would be boring to just make something, I don't know, without really caring. Art solves the question: if petroleum is the batteries of the planet, during times that the natural EM spectrum might be messed up and it's now gone, Jaimie would sit in his boat till the sun comes out. Art solves petroleum. No, go. What did Mr. Landfill say about that as a joke? Oh, I don't know what the joke was. I do really like having solar powered boats though, because yeah, if there's ever a problem with gasoline, like it goes up to like $7 or $9 a gallon, like it did recently. I think it came back down again, but geez, it's still pretty high. But yeah, just getting in a boat and like knowing that it charges itself just being parked or just being in the sun, it'll get energy. So great. Let's see. Oh, a YouTube video faked a show about making solar panels with CDs. Yeah, it's so easy to make these fake videos about dumb garbage. Like the infinite energy machines. I always call them the infinity machines because they have over unity or whatever retarded terms they want to use to make it sound like their BS is legit. But it's so easy to make videos of crap that doesn't work and make it look like it worked. And you can get a lot of views that way. Like whenever I think about what I could do to make videos that would get tons of views, that's always one of the first things that comes up is like, well, I could just make machines that are complete BS that I know people would be interested in and then show it working. And they would get so many views. I mean, half the views would just be people like, oh my God, check this out. And the other half of the views would be people saying, wait, that can't work. There's no way that works. And just, but it's just not, it adds no value to the world to do that, That's one of those exercises in greed. It's like, I'm going to do something that's going to add no value to the world. In fact, it'll take value from the world. However, it's going to get a lot of attention. I'm going to get some money out of it. Greed. So total waste of time. If you got through the entire alphabet, your next A kid could be named Aaron. Well, I can't. I'm trying to think of what we were going to name Aurora if she was a boy. It might have been Aaron. No, I don't remember. No, it wouldn't have been Aaron. I don't remember what it was. Jaimie, what is next for the sawmill? Well, next for the sawmill, I want to get a big log, like of good wood. Not that coconut wood was bad. I think it's pretty good wood. Can make pterodactyl toys out of it anyway. And I have a couple 2x4s. Well, a few 2x4s up there that I want to build something with out of the coconut wood. Anyway, yeah, I do have some more of that coconut tree I can cut up, but I want to get a big log from the jungle, drag it out of the jungle, bring it over, put it there, and cut some nice boards. However, I want to get the access to the jungle straightened out, which is going to take a bit of work because it's just kind of a mess. Like slog through some mud and stuff to get there. Just got to fix it up, I did just get the shark slicer fixed up. The tiger shark slicer it is now. And that's the boat I'm hopefully going to use to carry, bigger chunks of wood like logs to here. So that's taken care of. But yeah, I guess I just gotta work on this path to the jungle thing. Yeah, that's one of the things I need to write on my list now that I got a bunch of other things out of the way. Pretty soon, that's going to be like top priority. This week, however, I was doing a lot of landscaping, gardening stuff. Because I do want to grow all my own food at some point. So I need to start putting more effort into that. And I have this one garden spot that I chewed up the ground a lot and mixed a bunch of charcoal into it and a bunch of compost. And then I didn't have a bunch of compost at the beginning. I ended up putting a huge pile of grass on top of it, left it for, I don't know, like 2 months, composting, and it all shrunk down and got all brown and, composty. And I mixed that all in and planted a few things. Right now, the sweet potatoes are taken off. It looks like they are growing like crazy in that garden spot. And there's a watermelon plant that looks like it's doing well, and one corn plant. I threw a few kernels of corn in there, and one came up. Oh, the other one's probably got eaten. But I don't know. It's like this tall. Looks like it's doing well. What else is in there? Maybe nothing else. But yeah, there's a few things in there that look like they're growing really well. So hopefully they're doing good. So I started a second garden spot, and these garden spots are maybe like 2 meters by 4 meters, more or less, like 6 feet by 12 feet ish. And I chewed up the ground again, broke it all up with a pickaxe. And then I took a dead tree and piled the whole dead tree up there on top of it, like broke it up, lit it on fire, had a big fire going there, and it ended up with a lot of ash and charcoal that's now in the dirt there, because ash and charcoal are supposed to be good. I don't know what I'm doing. And then a couple days ago, I used my snippers, like giant scissors things, to cut a bunch of long grass and pile it up on there. And then a bunch of palm fronds, coconut tree leaf things, piled all kinds of stuff up on there, like leafy stuff, maybe up to my waist. And now I'm going to wait, I don't know, a month or two, probably 2 months, for that to decompose down. And once it looks like it's decomposing pretty well, I'll get my pickaxe out again and mix all that in. And then hopefully I'll have another garden bed. And hopefully by that time, the first garden bed will be, growing potatoes and making watermelons and stuff. Well, maybe not watermelons, but starting to, hopefully. And hopefully those are going well. But I just got to keep trying to do this stuff. And, I'm definitely growing more food than when I first got here. However, it's been a bit of an uphill battle because the soil is just like solid clay, like pottery clay, But I'm getting somewhere there, and I'm starting to put a little more effort into it. So I put more effort into that this week, and I just need to keep on that, keep trying to make good progress there. I have 2 avocado trees that are growing really well. I'm very excited about those. Anyway, what was the question? Okay, if you got the entire alphabet, yeah. Oh, what is next for my sawmill? Yeah, right. Yeah, I got to get on that soon. I planted my tomatoes today. Oh, the first thing I need to cut on the lumber mill, like once I get a good log, is the boards for the boat. The boards for the shark slicer. So I actually have a floor in the cargo area at the front to put a log so that I can start cutting boards for the floors upstairs. Let's see. Oh, the other thing I have to do for the lumber mill is I have to level the track, because right now it's rolling on this track that's just 2 pipes sitting in the dirt. And, I just laid them down in the dirt. I didn't even level out the dirt or anything. So as the lumber mill's going, it ends up kind of going up and down just a little bit. But because there are divots in the dirt and it gets to the end and it's not supported, so it tips a little, so I need to level those out and put little concrete footings under the track so it's nice and solid, so it'll cut extra super straight. Although it cuts pretty straight anyway, but that's the last thing I have to do, I think. Let's see. I planted my tomatoes today. How's the planting going on Adventure Island? Well, I was just talking about that. No tomatoes. I do have a pepper plant that's making peppers, which I'm very excited about, because I've been planting peppers for a while, and the crabs were getting them, and then I protected them with little pieces of PVC pipe. and the crabs weren't getting them, but they just grew like this tall and then stayed there and didn't get any bigger. Finally, I have a pepper plant that's like tall, not as tall as me, but like a big pepper plant. It's a hot pepper plant. It just makes like little peppers, like like that, like my pinky, spicy ones. So hopefully I can get some more pepper plants going, and hopefully that one keeps going. Tomatoes, I hear, are hard to grow here because it's very wet. However, if you grow them under a roof so they don't get so much rain, it works pretty well. Dallas Wade says, I haven't seen you in a while. Says, I haven't made it to a live in a while. I hope you're doing well, brother. Doing pretty well. Feeling a little overwhelmed, trying to keep track of all the things going on here, but I'm making good progress and things are going well. And I gave a big monologue about this at the beginning. I feel like I just need to keep making progress on my thing, and I'm going to get to a point maybe in 2 or 3 years where I'm like, oh, I feel like I've got things under control. Right now I feel like I don't have anything under control. Not nothing, but I feel like I'm just going as fast as I can. Like I'm constantly racing to accomplish things, get things done, and achieve all these goals and make things happen. And it's always like I need to do this so I can do that, so I can do that, so I can do that, and that, and that, and that, and that. And it's just this big. It's almost like a video game technology tree. You do one thing so you can do the next thing, so you can do the next thing, the ability, and then eventually you get to the point where you're like, haha, now I've got it. Let's see. Can you mulch it to speed it up? Yeah, I could mulch it to speed it up, but things decompose here pretty quick on their own. It's very rainy and warm. So, if I mulch things, it's going to be a lot of extra work. Or if I get a machine, I'm going to need a machine. Although I am thinking about making a rototiller, which I can't say I'm excited about making a rototiller. It's just like, but it would be really useful. So I might have to actually make one. And if I make one, I'm going to have to make it like stainless steel and, nice and heavy duty and, fancy business. Let's see. Can you grow durian? I believe I can grow durian. That's a stinky fruit, right? Like it smells terrible, but tastes good. I've never had durian. Throw some banana peels and cow poop into the compost pile. Now, banana peels I have, but cow poop, I don't have any cows, and I don't have any cow poop. Now, that does remind me of some Yo Mama jokes that have been going around lately. And I feel I can share them without anyone being too offended. So I know some mamas get offended by Yo Mama jokes. For instance, my kids have been banned from making Yo Mama jokes at their mother's house, which I think is hilarious. But anyway, let's see. There are 2 good ones that we came up with recently. And this is just like we'll be sitting around having lunch and just like telling Yo Mama jokes, which is hilarious with little kids. So like everything from let's say I got a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old, and they're all coming up with Yo Mama jokes. And the 2-year-old comes up with ones that don't make sense at all. And every once in a while, the 4-year-old comes up with one that actually is funny and makes sense. And then the older kids, they get it. Anyway. Yo Mama's so fat, when she was sunbathing at the beach, emergency crews tried to push her back into the ocean. Because they thought she was a beached whale because she was so fat and all that, Okay, another one was, Yo Mama's so fat, when she farted, emergency crews showed up to the nearest sewage station to see what was wrong. That was terrible. Oh, Yo Mama jokes. Oh, yeah, okay. May have to protect your sprouts from crabs. Yes, I had to protect my sprouts from crabs, and I did, and they still didn't. I don't know what the problem was. Maybe it was the soil wasn't good, but they stayed the same size for a long time, just didn't get any bigger. Except for the one big one I have now, which was transplanted from someone else's land. So it was already kind of big, but it's been there for a few months. It kind of died a little at first, but then it started coming back, and now it's actually growing peppers. So I think it's fine, maybe. I don't know. Do you have to protect seed and cutting starting area that's elevated and covered that you can water more? Oh, I definitely don't want to water anything more. This is like tropical rainforest area. Generally speaking, you don't water anything here. If anything, you keep water from plants. Like you gotta plant them up high so they have good drainage, and put roofs over them and stuff. Jungle is a tough neighborhood for little plants. This is true. Although on my island, it's not that much of a jungle. It's mostly just the crabs that will get them. But I can protect little plants from crabs. So, just put little things. Just make it hard for them to get to the plants. That's not that difficult a thing. I have cherry tomatoes, and cucumbers. I had to shoot a ground squirrel yesterday. Ah. Yeah, it always feels terrible when you have to kill an animal to protect your stuff. But I mean, that's what nature is. You gotta kill one thing. Like for you to survive, you have to kill other things, even if you're not directly doing it. And vegans get this wrong all the time. They'll tell you, no offense to any vegans, but I'm always talking to vegans, not always, obviously, but I talk to vegans who are like, yeah, I don't ever hurt any animals. All my food is plant-based. And I'm like, well, what about those fields of soy? They're displacing like a lot of animals' habitat. So you've taken away places that animals could live. They could have lived there, but since they can't, they die. Oh no! Now it's like, you're eating some food that some other animal could eat, or you're eating another animal. Like in some way, for you to be alive, you got to kill something else, or make it impossible for something else to live. Like that's just the way it works, man. But yeah, I've had to take care of raccoons before and stuff. It's not a pretty sight. Tomatoes like damp roots and dry foliage. I see. Could you add a rototiller to the dozer? I was thinking about adding a rototiller to the dozer, if either adding it to it or just making it so I can plug it into the bulldozer, so I can drive the bulldozer to the area I need to rototill, and then just use it as a power source, and then I have my hand-driven rototiller, which I think I might like more, because I'm much more maneuverable than like the bulldozer, so I can get into more difficult to reach spots. Durian doesn't taste all that good either. Yeah, I bet it doesn't. Seaweed for the garden. Yeah, seaweed. I gotta remember to throw some seaweed on my compost pile. Where have I seen seaweed lately? I don't know. Every once in a while, I come across a bunch of seaweed, and I'll scoop it up and throw it in the dirt somewhere. I want to. Okay, there's this area that I've been digging up clay and dumping it. So the clay is all broken up, and dumped in a wheelbarrow, and then dumped in this spot, kind of leveled out. But it's like it's got lots of holes in it. So I was thinking, what if I get mud, like from the canal in front of my house? Like the bottom is just mucky, like it's clear water, and then you get to the bottom and it's muck. So if you stand in it, you actually sink into the muck, and it's just like this fluffy muck stuff before you hit the solid part. So I can scoop that up and dump it on the clay, and that should ooze into the clay, right? And make it so it's not such just solid clay, and all that muck in the bottom of the ocean should have some nutrients, right? And maybe help grow some stuff. I did try this a little. I took a few scoops and dumped it on one of these areas where it's broken up clay, and it kind of sunk in there. So I'm hoping that makes a decent growing spot. And I presume the salt is going to wash out, because it rains a lot here. The salt will wash out pretty soon. Put soil on your Amazon wish list. I'm not importing soil. Maybe I should. No, I got it. I can't just keep bringing soil in. I got to figure out how to make the soil here work. And I've done some research. Apparently in tropical rainforests, growing things is difficult because it rains so much that it washes away all the nutrients. But if you put charcoal in the soil, the charcoal grabs onto nutrients, and then plants can get it from the charcoal. So I'm mixing charcoal in with the dirt in a lot of places. And supposedly this is how South America had a huge empire with like huge numbers of people in a place that would otherwise normally have just not good enough soil to support all those people. But they figured out how to make the soil good with charcoal and compost and stuff. But the charcoal seemed to be like the secret ingredient. Let's see. Where does forgiving and forgiveness fall on your adventure builder principles or mantra? Well, that's an interesting question. Where does forgiving and forgiveness? Well, I guess that comes into. I mean, it depends on the situation, but I feel like you have to have love. Like if you love someone, you can forgive them for making mistakes and stuff. Forgiveness, forgiving and forgiveness. Yeah. But then, love can let you forgive someone, but honesty cannot let you forget. And that's a distinguishing thing that people often mistake when they forgive someone. It's like forgive and forget. No, don't forget. You can forgive someone, but don't forget. Because if you forget, like if someone betrays you and you forgive them and then you also forget about it, well, you're opening yourself to being betrayed by them again, which isn't going to be good for you or your relationship with this person. So, you have to, you gotta keep it real. You gotta be honest. You gotta have good honesty and see the actual situation and say, okay, this person made a mistake and this is how they did it. And fine. I love this person enough to forgive them. However, I do have to keep in mind that the circumstances under which they made the mistake, so that if this comes up again, I can figure out how to deal with it before it gets to the point of total betrayal or whatever. It obviously depends a lot on the circumstances. And, you got to have sufficient courage to face the truth of these things. It really depends on the circumstances. But I mean, that's the basic gist of how I'd approach that. How do goats do there for milk and meat? Goats? Yeah, people have goats around here. I want to get goats. No, I'm not ready for goats yet. This is another thing where I feel like I have to have a partner. Well, no, one of two things has to happen before I feel like I can get animals. Either I have to get to that point that I was talking about earlier where I feel like I've kind of got things under control, where I don't feel like I'm constantly racing to get things done. Like at some point, 2 or 3 years from now ish, maybe, I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, I feel like I've got food growing, I've got my power situation worked out, I've got buildings, and things are organized. I've got, I've basically gotten things taken care of, transportation, all this stuff. Now I can start thinking about animals and other things like that. The other circumstance that could happen is I could meet a partner who lives here with me, and we can split some of these things. Like if I met someone and she was into animals and she wanted to get animals, then we could work together on that, and she could largely handle the animals while I'm doing, building this or that and the next thing and whatever. But yeah, at the moment, by myself here with everything I have to do, I don't feel like I'm ready to handle animals. I feel like it would be irresponsible of me to try to do animals, and it would just be too much. Yeah. Have you seen any crazy looking bugs lately? Huh. I'm trying to think. A scorpion bit me like a week ago. This is the first time I've been bitten by a scorpion, or stung, I guess. I was stung by a scorpion. They don't even have heads. Scorpions are so weird. They don't even have heads on them. They're just like it's like the front of their body just has a bunch of eyes. There's no head. I went to sleep. I felt something on my foot. I like brushed it with my other foot, and then, I felt it, and then I really kicked it with my other foot. And by the time I got the light on and looked, he was kind of smushed on the floor, but it had a little. It didn't really. I don't know. It didn't really. I'm trying to think. Could I see? No, I could see a little dot where he got me. Yeah, and it felt bad, but it really wasn't that big a deal. I picked them up, threw them out the window, and went to sleep. But I paid attention to it for a while because like it stung, and I was like, I've heard this is gonna hurt for like the next 12 hours, and it's this agonizing pain and everything. But I was probably awake for like half an hour after that before I fell asleep. I don't know, maybe not 15 minutes. I don't know. I was awake for a little bit, but it didn't keep me awake. The sting. But it really wasn't that bad. It hurt, but not nearly as much as like morning exercises. Morning exercises are way more painful than that. Or like, spending a day digging. Oh, that's way more pain than this little on my foot. Or like pedaling all the way to town and back. Oh, that's way more pain than a little scorpion sting. Yeah, scorpion sting's nothing. But I haven't seen any crazy looking bugs, but the scorpions are kind of crazy looking. Have you considered hydroponics Kratky method? I have no idea what Kratky is, who Kratky is. I haven't gotten into any hydroponics. I'm trying to grow things in the dirt. Can I do, well, if I'm going to do anything hydroponically, I don't want to do it in a way that I have to buy stuff. Like everything I do here, I'm trying to do in a way that I will be ultimately self-sufficient, which is why I don't use gasoline. I have a gasoline chainsaw. It's the only gasoline thing I have. But other than that, everything is solar powered, or, it's like I've got power sources here that I can use. I'm a big power source, and I'm trying to grow enough food that I can power myself to do a lot of things. So I don't want to do any kind of hydroponics where I have to buy plant food. And it doesn't matter how much it is, or how much it costs, or the volume, or how easy it is, or whatever. No, it's like I want to figure out how to do things self-sufficiently on my own. Not necessarily figure it out on my own, but I want to be able to do it on my own. So I have been thinking about fishaponics. What do you call it? Aquafishaponics. Someone's gonna say it. Whatever. Where you have some fish and they poop in the water, and the poop feeds the plants, and then the fish eat the plants, and then you get extra plants for yourself too. But basically, the fish poop is what fertilizes the plants. Wait, what the heck do you call it? I'm just going to call it fishaponics. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, but I don't know what the Kratky method is. If you can't get cow poop, maybe you can get blood from the butcher in town. Or can you get blood meal? Compost needs nitrogen. Well, I've got lots of nitrogen. I pee all the time. Why can't my pee do it? Okay, classic dude Mike. I don't want to have to buy things. People keep suggesting that I just go buy something. No, going to buy something is not the solution I'm looking for. The solution I'm looking for is, I just saw a mosquito. Oh, I got him. Yeah, I don't want to have to buy things. Like, what can I'd rather poop in my own garden with my own poop. And someone's going to say, oh my God, human error, oh my God. Oh, whatever. I don't care. But there's ways to do everything. Flying Wing respectfully disagrees. Fresh durian is delicious and great for you too. Excellent. I wonder if you could just bolt some tines onto the bulldozer bucket to kind of work like a tiller. Yeah, I've thought about that. Just kind of either on the bucket or behind it, and just kind of like like a plow. However, it's not going to like chew up the ground into little bits unless I go back and forth like 1.5 million times, because this clay is solid. Like if you plowed it, it would just make big solid chunks. So like a rototiller would like really chew it up is what I'm thinking. Question: have you caught any sheep's head? They are an interesting looking fish with human looking teeth. Oh, those things. Those are hilarious. I think if I caught one of those, I would laugh my head off. Yeah, the fish with the human looking teeth. No, I've not caught one of those. Do they grow here? Hydroponic nutrients. Good way to amend your soil. Yeah, but can I make that myself? Second question. What would you say your thrust in terms of pounds of thrust your motor... Oh, that's a bug. What would you say your thrust in terms of pounds of thrust your motor generates? On my boat? Which boat? I don't know. I don't know what the pounds of thrust is. And the thing with the pounds of thrust thing is the faster you're moving, the lower the pounds of thrust is going to be. So when they give you the pounds of thrust for a trolling motor, they presume that you're going to be going really slow because they make trolling motors to like push a big boat, right? So the big boat's going to go really slow. So you can just kind of mathematically disregard the speed and then just kind of say, okay, it's got this many pounds of pressure. The problem is, the faster you go, the harder it is to apply those pounds of pressure to the water, so that your pounds reduces. So it's not really a useful way of measuring the power, because it's not even a power measure. It's just the force, the static force. The motor on the boat I'm driving right now, it's somewhere around 1,000 watts. Actually, the same with all the motors. I'm on all three of my main boats, like the Shark Slicer, the Zombie Chopper, and the Solar Snailer. The cargo boat, the little white one, and then the green boat that I've been driving a lot lately. They're all around 1,000 watts, like 1,100 watts is I think two of the motors, and the other one, I don't know, somewhere around the same thing. Whoever was asking about weird bugs, I just saw a big ant. Why is a big ant in my house? Dude, you know you're supposed to be outside, right? Oops. Let's see. Thanks for the charcoal explanation. That is one I haven't heard. Yeah, supposedly the charcoal makes a big difference in the soil in a rainforest. And it kind of makes sense. Charcoal is used for filters, like it grabs onto organic materials. So it would make sense that, nutrients would kind of like stick to the charcoal and not get washed away when water comes through. And then I guess the plant just has to have more conviction than the water, I guess, to get the nutrients off the charcoal. And I guess they do have more conviction. Do you have rats or other rodent problems? Not really problems. Occasionally I'll get like a possum or a raccoon, but I've been pretty successful at scaring the crap out of them. I've killed a few. Like if there's a rodent, I mean, basically on my island, my island's not very big. There's nothing here. Like I'm the boss of my island. If there's a rodent, I scare it away. If it won't leave, I'll kill it. And I mean, it just goes back to, like, for me to survive, I have to protect my territory from other animals. Once there was a possum in my house, and anything comes in my house, I consider it dead. And that's probably a terribly cruel thing to think, but like, and I didn't think that way until I moved off grid and had a few situations where animals got into food in my kitchen, and I was just like, oh, that is it. And then I greatly expanded the circumstances under which I would kill an animal that is threatening to get my food, So I wouldn't say I'm really aggressive, but I'm fairly aggressive with any animal that comes and might destroy things. So yeah, I haven't had any animals here in, I don't know, a long time. I can't think of anything in the last 6 months. I don't think there's been anything on my island. Maybe the word is out, like, don't go there. That guy's crazy. He will kill you on sight, man. He will kill you. Which I don't kill animals on sight. I'll throw some rocks at them and scare them away. But if they don't leave, yeah, I'll kill them. Oh, I'm so bad. Bark scorpion stings suck. Never been in so much pain. Arizona scorpions must be meaner. Maybe. What are bark scorpions? Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a chance the scorpion didn't even get me that well because I was kicking it with my other foot. Like I was pushing on it with my other foot. Although when it stung me, I wasn't like smashing it. I was just kind of like brushing with my other foot in the dark because I was just like, what's that on my foot? That's weird. And brush it off. But then it stung me and then I kicked it. So I don't know. Maybe I spared myself some of the sting. How about a pet capybara? Oh, I can't remember what those are. Those things that are like a big rodent with a cute head and they're kind of like dog rats. I don't know. I don't know. Aquaponics. Yeah, aquaponics. That is the word for it, isn't it? With the fish, which is funny because hydroponics and aquaponics is basically meaning the same thing. Hydro water, aqua water. I think they should call it fishaponics. Damn it, I'm calling it fishponics. Yes, they live by oyster beds, and they are delicious. What did I miss? Oh, I know. You're talking about that fish that has the human smile. They live by oyster beds and they're delicious. Really? Well, how big are they? Wait, what was that fish called? A sheep's something? Well, I'm scrubbing. Oh, a sheep's head. Yeah, if I see a sheep's head fish, I'll try to get it. Spear it. My spear works pretty well. So. Have you seen any dolphins lately? Let's see. The last time I saw dolphins, I saw some on my trip to town the other day, which was, I don't know what day it was. Thursday. Yeah, I went Thursday. Today's Sunday? I know what day today is. Yeah, so like 3 days ago. Yeah, I saw dolphins 3 days ago. But the best way I know how to grow a garden is using shredded leaves mixed with chicken poops or manures. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting chickens. So I was saying earlier I don't want to get animals because I feel like I'm not ready to handle animals yet. At least not while I'm on my own, just because I have so much going on. But the first animals I want to get are chickens, and yeah, I want to make sure I get them pooping in all the places I want to grow stuff. So it'd be great if I had someone else here and she could just be like, "Yo, I'll handle the chickens. Let's do it." It doesn't even have to. She wouldn't even have to totally handle the chickens. Just be like, take the lead on the chickens. I'll help obviously and stuff. The best way I know. Oh yeah, chicken manure, right? Women take a lot of time, energy, and focus. I always feel better when I refocus on my projects and get my house in order. Well, that's one of the tricky things. It depends on what women you're talking about. Women today, and actually people in general today, have just become lazy and entitled and horrible, which is why it's so hard to meet someone who isn't just lazy and greedy and entitled and horrible, male or female. And the first thing you have to do is just check yourself, like say to yourself, am I lazy and entitled and horrible? I personally try not to be. I think I'm doing okay. But yeah, it's pretty hard to meet someone who doesn't just suck the energy out of everything, Let me think, or let me just see here. A coworker at the hardware nursery told me he pissed on his compost, not on the bare soil. The chemistry feeds the bacteria that breaks down the organic matter. Well, that's cool because I've been peeing on my compost things too, and the way I get charcoal mostly is I cook with a wood fire, and I'm going to keep doing that for a while, presuming this charcoal thing works. So whenever I clean out the little wood stove thing I have, I dump a bunch of charcoal in a pile and some ash. So I just have this little pile of charcoal and ash, and I pee on that when I'm outside, and that the charcoal is supposed to absorb the the nitrogen from the pee and all that. And then, pick it up with a shovel and go mix it in somewhere. Oh, mosquito. Yeah, the bugs are pretty good here, but, I have this big light on, so if there are any mosquitoes around, they're going to come over. Yeah, I've been peeing on my charcoal because supposedly it works. Why didn't you go at least 48 volts on your motor? I don't know. I got to pick some voltage, so I picked one. I'm just doing everything 24 volts. Seemed like a good thing to do. I don't know. I mean, there are advantages to higher voltage and lower voltage, and yeah, I just picked 24, and I wanted to have everything on the same voltage, so my house and all boats are all 24. So once I picked a number, I just stick everything to the same number. Although I did at one point have a 48 volt electric motor on one of my boats, the Solar Snailer, and man, it went fast. But not because it was 48 volt motor, but because it was just a higher power motor. And the reason I did a different voltage for that boat was because I got this motor for free, and I was like, well, I'm getting it for free. All right, let me just set up this one thing to be 48 volts. And then that stupid motor broke after 6 months, and I was like, great. Now I've got this 48 volt system that doesn't work with anything else I have. So I had to rewire the whole thing, change just all the crap to get it to work with, another backup motor I had around that was 24 volts. So now I'm just keeping everything 24 volts. I mean, if some company was like, we have the best 48 volt motor or 36 volt motor or whatever, I might consider doing one thing, but I don't know. The problem is, if you have a bunch of different voltages on your stuff, something breaks, you can't swap parts around, or so I just want to keep everything on the same voltage. Thought about farming algae. Man, lately I could just take like a cloth bag and like scoop algae out of the water at certain times of day. Like, it's been so sunny and muggy and hot and not raining that if you go into a bay, like not out in the open water, because things move, but like in a bay where things are kind of more still, you can scoop up algae pretty easily. I haven't really thought that much about farming algae though. I mean, I try to get algae off my walkway because there's one spot at the front of the house where there's a very shallow hole, and it's like not even like I shouldn't say hole, but like a little low spot that you wouldn't even notice, except when it rains, water pools there. Only like, I don't know, like a centimeter at the most, not even a centimeter. Like there will be a little puddle of water that stays there. And so it grows algae, obviously. So every once in a while, I have to like brush it off with my big push broom to kind of scrub the algae off so it's not super slippery. But maybe I should start scooping that up and putting it in my garden. Is that what you were talking about, the algae farm, like as fertilizer? Oh wait, where was I? Oh no, I just squished a bug on the screen and screwed up my comments here. Let's see. Oh my God, seriously. Okay, thought about farming algae. To feed fish, to sustain an aquaponic system. Oh, well, I guess I haven't thought about that much because I don't have an aquaponic system or plans to do it yet. I mean, I have like a distant thought about doing it in the future, but yeah, I'm not at the point where I'm doing it yet. The world is all our home, and when one sees there's a problem that others might not, you may try to enlist others who could help, even if you do so badly. That is true. I try to enlist other people to help with problems, and yeah, sometimes badly, sometimes well. What is your favorite off-grid structure? My favorite off-grid structure. I feel like there's probably more to this question. but it's pretty open-ended and vague. So I'm just gonna say my house. Man, I love this house. This house right here, the house I'm in right now. It's a 4-story round thing. It's huge in here. I love it. And presuming I did a decent job, it should last a really, really long time. My plan was to build it like for my great grandkids. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's the answer. Off-grid structure. Mosquito was after your food. He was after my blood. Salty muck will be salty. Yes, but it rains so much. Salt runs out pretty quick. The other thing is, I've put some salty muck up on the land to see if I could raise the land a little bit. It's in this low spot that floods when there's a really high tide, and I can put the muck out, and then it dries out in the sun, and the good grass grows in it. There's this grass called Bermuda grass, at least that's what I've heard, or golf course grass. It's like the grass they put on golf courses because it just grows this like really, really thick but not long green carpet, and it's fine in salt water. So if I scoop this muck out and put some on the land, I can put a piece of this I just said what it was, this golf course grass, Bermuda grass, yeah, on top of this salty muck, and it totally grows in it, and nothing else will grow in it because everything else is like, oh my god, salt water, no. But this grass that I want to grow more than I want any other kind of grass. So anywhere I want that grass to grow, I can put this salty muck, and that works out pretty well. Are the mosquitoes about the same year round, or are there months when they're worse? Well, they definitely are worse sometimes, but I don't know that it's, I don't know what the schedule is. So people tell me that there's a rainy season and a dry season here, except like this year, the dry season, it rained like the whole time. And then the rainy season started, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and it's been so hot and sunny. So I don't know what the seasons are in terms of the weather or the bugs or anything. But I do know that every once in a while, there'll just be no mosquitoes, no little no-see-ums. They call them chitras here. But gnats, like the little guys you can barely see, they're just like a little dot. There'll be like none of them for like, I don't know, once it went on for 3 months, there were no bugs, and it was amazing. But under most circumstances, not most circumstances, most of the time, the bugs aren't bad. They're bad in the morning, the early morning, and the late evening, like when the sun's coming up or going down. Then the bugs suck. But the rest of the time, like in the full-on daytime or at night, they're fine. Like I could go outside right now and be fine. I wouldn't want to, stand still for 45 minutes without moving, because I'm sure I'd get bitten by something, with a light on. But if I just went out and walked around, I'd be fine. Also, I reckon it's just the lye in your ash and charcoal that's fixing your soil. Just add lime and it'll speed up, maybe. Well, can I make lime? Tesla has announced a new vehicle that will have a 48-volt infrastructure, so it will become more common over time. Okay. Do you have red tide by you? No. The backyard vertical gardener says rich solar. You have to, that's all he said, just rich solar. Are you recommending rich solar? Is that what's going on? Give me some information here, because I am totally open to recommendations. Geodude says it would make for a good fertilizer, but I don't know what he's talking about it. And I don't see a previous comment from him. Something would make good fertilizer. Forgiveness isn't really a part of adventure builder virtues. Virtues tend to have really fixed and rigid goals. Forgiveness is a type of behavior, not a virtue. It's situational. Yeah, pretty much, more or less. I mean, the thing is, like, Your behaviors are a part of your virtues. They're just not specifically the virtues. But they are a very important part of it. And actually, I think that's something that's important to keep in mind because a lot of people, in my experience, who have principles or virtues that they talk about, they don't actually do the behaviors that would go along with those virtues. So I think I I get what you're saying, but I think it's a mistake to say that a behavior is not part of the virtue. It's definitely a part of it. It's a big part of it. I mean, you might even say it's the biggest part because if your virtues or principles are just something you think about or talk about, and they don't actually define your behavior, then there's no point in having them. If anything, it's worse because then you're telling people you're going to be this kind of person that you're not. So it's really important to have the behaviors that go along with the virtues. Big part of them. Aquaponics is a great food supplement. I'm sorry. Hydroponics is a great food supplement. Oh, my brains are getting sloppy. Forgiving someone isn't virtuous or non-virtuous. Well, it's just a practical decision about whether it's useful for you or not. Well, not necessarily. It could be useful to the other person or useful to people around you or your community. Like you can't just think about yourself because that's being deceitful. You're not being honest. You're not taking an honest view of the world. And it's a weak thing to do. It's not having strength to just think about yourself. You got to think about your community, the people around you, and blah blah blah. Though representing, wait, it's just a practical decision about whether it's useful for you or not. Though resentment is drinking a poison and expecting the other person to die. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have moringa trees? I have one moringa tree, and it's alive. It's not growing that well, but I'm hoping it's just in the phase where it's growing roots. Because, the leaves, I mean, it's growing some more leaves. It's just not, there's not a lot going on above the soil. So I'm hoping it's growing roots. My favorite off-grid structure is a teepee. Oh, yeah, you took a different, when the guy asked me about favorite off-grid structure, I picked a specific item, but you're talking about a category. Reed Cook says, hi all. Am I at the end of comments or did they just get frozen? Let me just see. Okay, I missed a couple. Matt's awesome stuff says aquaponics. Ken says, I'm currently using IBC. Ooh, IBC root beer? No. IBC totes. Oh, yeah, that's those big plastic cube liquid holders, right? IBC totes for aquaponics setup. Do you have any of those by you? No, I don't. I mean, I'm sure I could get some, but I would rather build something myself. If I was gonna build an aquaponics thing and I had to have big liquid storage containers, I would not want to do something plastic, unless it was going to be out of the sun. But it's only going to last a certain amount of time in the sun, and then just turn into garbage. So I'd rather build concrete tanks or something like that. I mean, I'd have to do some research and figure out what I can do, but I'd want to do something that would last. What made you start YouTube? Okay, I've talked about this before, but basically, when I was a kid, and dinosaurs roamed the earth, and you had to dodge these things. Pterodactyls. I didn't fit in with society around me at all. I grew up in the suburbs of Canada, and I just saw so much BS. Like people would come outside with their big smiles and say, "Look at my perfect yard and my perfect garden and my perfect fence, and look at my beautiful smile and everything's amazing." And then they go inside their house and I'd hear them screaming at each other. "F you don't know what the hell you're doing." And it was when I lived in the neighborhood, like I hear these neighbors, and it was just like, and so many people were like that. They put on this fake face to the world, and then behind closed doors, they were just completely different people. And they put on this fake happy face, and they were just miserable. And On that note, that's actually been augmented by the internet, because that's like how that's in a lot of people's lives now. They're on Instagram showing how happy and amazing they are, and Facebook, look at me, I'm so amazing, and then they just have empty lives, but they just go online and show everyone how amazing. Anyway, so when I grew up in the suburbs, I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of miserable people trying to pretend to be happy. I saw a lot of people who'd basically just kind of given up on life and weren't trying anything, weren't trying, like they just given up on their dreams. They didn't want anyone else to have any dreams or to try or do well at anything. Like, and as I was growing up, like anytime I tried to do anything that was unorthodox or different than what other people were doing, I always got huge pushback. Like, you don't know what the hell you're doing. What do you think, you're smarter than everyone else? I would just get screamed at, and so much pressure to not ever experiment or try anything, or follow a dream or anything like that. And I felt like I was totally alone. So when I started growing up, and I hadn't let go of my dreams, I was like, I want to do this thing where I can make a home for myself, living off grid, where I have enough freedom to do the things that I think should be done, and live life the way I think it should be done, and all the stuff. I was like, oh, mosquito. Yeah. I thought it would be really useful if I could see what I'm doing now when I was a kid, because I had no examples to look at. Like, I was just surrounded by all the opposite of what I wanted to do with my life. I had no example of what I actually wanted to do. Nothing in the people around me, nothing on TV. No. If I got into books more, I probably could have found some books somewhere that were more kind of in line with what I was thinking. But none of the books I read when I was a kid were that. So I was like, well, you know what I could do? I could do this for other people who are kids now growing up. I could just show what I'm doing now, just to say, basically, you know what? You don't have to do the rat race. You don't have to get on that endless treadmill of making money, paying bills, making money, paying bills, buying a car so you can drive to work, so you can make the money to pay for the car. And then, just this endless circle of running around in circles chasing this money. You can do something else. You can have a life that you decide for yourself. You can decide for yourself what you want to do with your life, and then you can do that. And specifically, it was examples of moving off grid and doing things that I was doing. But there was a bigger message there, which was just you can decide your own life. Like, it's your life. Other people can make it difficult for you, but you don't have to give up. You can keep trying to do your own life. So I wanted to give that message out to other people, particularly to other kids who were in the situation that I was in when I was a kid and had no one to look up to. And then maybe some kids would see that and be like, haha, that guy, that crazy guy there, he's doing what he thinks he should do. Maybe I can do what I think I should do. And, basically just encouraging trouble. Dandelions, question, do you have them there? I did see some dandelions the other day. You can eat those, right? Yeah, right up on the hill behind my house, I saw some dandelions. And as I was walking by them, I thought, I think I can eat those. But I don't really know the exact situation. There also weren't that many. There was just a few. Wouldn't even be a salad. Would you encourage your kids to compete in sports at a high level like you did? Or are the sports of today too intense, competitive, and filled with bad lessons like winning equals everything? I wouldn't encourage my kids to get into sports the way I did. Okay, so the situation with me was, when I was a kid, I was just explaining how I felt like I was totally alone and trapped, right? And for me, sports was like one of the few things I could do where I could actually try hard and put effort into something and get some kind of like it was just a way I could express myself, and it wasn't the most healthy way to do it. I mean, I was uh yeah. I mean, it was good because I made myself very physically and mentally strong. But I also learned how to isolate myself and cut myself off from the rest of the world, like basically introvert myself to like an excessive degree, which is useful at times, but I don't know, it's not that useful. And when I finally moved off grid and I could use my energy and all that, all that athletic skill and whatever for actual useful purposes, just life felt so much better. So I mean, I wouldn't discourage my kids from getting that heavily into sports. I would definitely encourage them to do training and stuff, like practice things, learn skills, get really good at stuff. But I would, you know, I would kind of want to keep an eye on the competitive thing. Like, you get too competitive, it ends up really isolating you. And when I was running track, I would show up to the track meet. I wouldn't talk to anybody. The only thing I cared about was I have to win, and I have to break the meet record in this, and I have to win that, and in the end, all that stuff didn't matter. I had this huge pile of medals in my house in Vermont, and I eventually just got rid of them because I was like, this stuff it just doesn't matter at all. The important thing was the training, the exercise that gave me the strength to now do a lot of difficult, like handle a lot of difficult tasks. But all the medals and the competitions, all that stuff, it just wasn't that important. It just, it didn't mean much. Yeah, the whole winning is everything thing is no good. And one of the things I really didn't enjoy about competing was just the the negativity, the bad attitudes. Because if you're competing and you're kind of middle of the pack, you got a bunch of friends, you can all talk about, hey, how'd you do with your time? Yeah, oh, I got a personal best, yeah. But when you're the guy winning, there are a lot of people just glaring at you. Oh, that guy. Oh, that's that guy who wins. And you also get, admiration and stuff. But there's even a lot of times with the admiration, there comes accompanying a certain level of resentment, and that's one of the ways competition really isolates people. And I've spoken with other athletes who competed at high levels, and there's always this certain isolation that you end up with. That's not necessarily a good thing. Now, that's not the only thing in my life that isolates me, but and also just putting that much effort into winning a medal, it's kind of a waste of energy. Like, there are much better ways to use. Oops, let me just smack you around there a little. There are much better ways to use that energy to improve your own life. Just for laughs, where the heck do you get your energy? So much energy and so focused. That's funny because today I was feeling really worn down, which is why I did all this sewing today and made myself a hat and a shirt. Man, my shirt, I haven't actually seen my shirt because I don't have a mirror in my house. I have like no mirrors. I have a little mirror that I can use to shave, but I don't have like a mirror up. So if I make clothes, I can't see. Anyway, where do I get my energy? Pure stubbornness. Well, a lot of it is like I've done a lot of endurance training. So, I did track and field and volleyball and swimming and water polo and basketball and baseball and whatever. Like, I did a lot of sports growing up, and I trained really hard because I thought, all this training is going to make me strong and give me lots of endurance so that sometime in the future, when I'm living some kind of life, I'll have the strength and the energy to do things, the things that I'm doing now. So a lot of it was that. But even then, a lot of it was just stubbornness. Like, I refused to stop. And so for example, like if I'm digging dirt, there's this thing where I need to move a bunch of dirt from up on the hill to down here, and the dirt's solid clay, so I have to break it up and then scoop it into the wheelbarrow and then wheel it down, then go up. And when it's hot out, it's freaking exhausting. And I'm just sweating like a pig, and I'm just drinking so much water and barely keeping up and just going and going. It's like painful, you know? And my body's like, stop. And then my stubbornness comes out and like, what the fuck? Don't tell me to stop. No. You know, yeah, I get upset. I'll be like, no, don't make me stop. What am I? Some piece of crap who can't handle stuff? Like I'll just get worked up and be like, no, I can do this. I'd rather die than not be able to do this. And I'll just keep going. And yeah, and then a lot of it is just that pure stubbornness. And I've made it a habit to not quit, to keep going, even if things get uncomfortable. So my pain tolerance, my tolerance for discomfort is very high. It's not that I just have this energy. It's just that I'm not stopping, you know. I feel like I've got one life to live, as far as I know. Maybe I get more after this, but as far as I know, I only get one chance at doing everything I do today. Every day and every moment, I get one chance to do it, and that's it. And I got to make the most out of it, because at some point I'm going to be out of time, and that's going to be it. And then I'm going to look back and think, you know, I could have done more. I wish I could have gone back and not been lazy, or just put up with the discomfort or the pain and kept going. So I feel like while I'm alive and healthy, I need to do that. I need to not take it for granted. Yeah, and then also, you know, there are a lot of people in the world who don't have the ability to do a lot of things. So I guess I sometimes get inspiration from people who've like lost a limb. Maybe inspiration is the wrong word, or maybe it's like, I don't take my health for granted, because I know that like a lot of people have either lost limbs or even been born without limbs, or just like been born with some health problem or something. And here I am, this healthy person. I don't think it's fair to the world to take for granted that I'm a healthy person and just chill, you know. I feel like that's kind of spitting in the face of someone who can't. So as long as I can, I need to put effort into, like, whatever I'm doing. I need to put as much effort into the things I'm doing as I can handle. And a lot of that involves just using a lot of energy. And yeah, I guess in terms of having the energy, it's a lot of it is just habit, and just, you know, the more I do, the stronger my body gets. But don't think I'm like chilling and it's easy. Like I put a lot of mental strength goes into keeping me going when I'm tired. So it's definitely not easy. Oh yeah, here we are. Eat them, make wine, but they got tap roots up for shallow rooted plants. Is this about the yellow plant thing, flower things? What are they called? Sunflowers? Not sunflowers. Dandelions. Is this the dandelions you're talking about? Eat them and make wine, but they got tap roots up for shallow rooted plants. I don't know. How many hours do you sleep? How many pillows do you use when you sleep? Well, I usually use one pillow. I have one pillow. It's right there. Although I don't always use it. Sometimes I sleep on my face, you know, just like, and then I don't use a pillow. I just shove it off the end of my bed. And then if I roll over on my back, usually I want one pillow, but sometimes I sleep with no pillow. How many hours do I sleep? I guess it depends. Sleep during my lifetime, sleep has been whatever I feel like I need it to be. So the lowest amount of sleep I got was, I remember that. Let me think. It was about 2 hours a night average. So yeah, I got on this weird schedule because it doesn't even matter how I ended up getting there. But there's 7 days in a week. 2 nights I slept 1 hour. 2 nights I slept 2 hours. 2 nights I slept not at all. I just stayed up. And then one night I slept 6 hours. And I did that for about 6 months once. And it worked fine. I mean, I had to, kind of, it took some mental effort to do, but I got insane amounts of stuff done. I also, at the time, did not have a girlfriend and was not entangling myself in anyone's personal affairs. So at that point in time, I was just completely alone on my own. And man, when you spend time on your own and you have, a decent grip on your own mental health, it cuts out a lot of garbage. So I really didn't need to sleep much. But then other times, I don't know, I probably get like 8 hours of sleep a night-ish. But it depends. Like, I'd say 5 to 8 hours, usually. Like, sometimes I'll just wake up in the middle of the night and do some stuff. If I need to get up for something, I'll just get up early. I don't know. Yeah, let's say 5 to 8 hours lately. I don't sleep with any blankets or anything. That's just because it's hot. In the tropics, it's warm. The man's got genes. See, I do have pretty good genetics. And on that, I do feel like I am responsible for making sure I pass those genes on, which I think I'm doing a good job of. But, I have pretty good genes. However, I also work really hard. And maybe that's also part of my genes. So when I was running track and field competitively, and I used that as the gauge for a lot of things, because when you do something like racing, like track and field or swimming or anything where you get a time, it's a very concrete feedback. So there's no opinion. Like if I run in 800 meters in 1 minute and 53 seconds and 9/10 of a second, that is a concrete amount of time. Like no one can come say, well, my opinion is actually that you ran 1:56. No, it doesn't matter. Like I get concrete feedback. So a lot of the things about this I learned from track and field and swimming and other things where it gives you get that concrete feedback of a specific time. But I did very well in track and field, and I went. Let's go all the way back to high school because that's where I did a bunch of years of the same event. The last 2 years of high school, I was undefeated. I won every race of my main race. And people would often say, oh, you're lucky, you're so fast, or, you must have good genes and stuff. But then I'm like, yeah, but when I started, I was not winning any races. Like, it took me a while to win the first race. And I know people who started track and field and were like winning races right away. I mean, they weren't winning, at the championships or anything, but like just some little random meet they can go out and win. But like when I first started, I didn't win anything. I was like middle of the pack at best. I was not good. But I worked hard and I kept making decisions that were the more difficult decisions, but that would get me better results. And just trying really hard and, got better at things. Actually, if anything, in terms of genetics, I would say there's two things about my genetics that are particularly helpful in my life. One is I'm very durable. So I could train really hard without getting injuries. Like do a lot more workouts than other people I knew without getting injuries. And the other is just mental toughness. Like I'm really stubborn. And when I was a kid, people would say it like it was a bad thing. Oh, Jaimie, you're so stubborn. You need to, don't be so stubborn all the time. But man, being stubborn, it's That's useful. Like, be stubborn. If you're a kid and you're stubborn, if you're anyone and you're stubborn, don't listen to people tell you not to be stubborn. No, you be stubborn, because that is a very useful thing. Being stubborn, just make sure you apply it to the right things. Don't be stubborn when you're wrong. Be stubborn in needing to figure out what the right answer is. So that's a situation where you could be stubborn about your narcissism. Yeah, insisting you're right. No, that's the wrong way to apply your stubbornness. No, apply your stubbornness to disregarding all that nonsense and getting the results, getting the good results. Doing better, or finding the best answer, or things like that. So yeah, what was I talking about? How many hours? Oh yes, roots that bring nutrients up. Reed, I need you to speak in full sentences, because you're in amongst a whole bunch of other people's comments. So you say something, and I think you're talking about the dandelions, but roots that bring nutrients up. See, I need more information. Okay, Wendy. Okay, you're doing a pretty good job at using full sentences. After thinking, Earth battery comparison to Jaimie's boat answer is, oh no, is to shame inefficiency and maximum Earth productiveness so the planet can pedal its way out of destroying the solar system. We're not to destroy the solar system. We might ruin the survivability on our own planet, but I think the solar system would be fine. Earth battery. You're a winner, Jaimie. See, I don't know what that means. I don't really. I think humans in general have to get off this idea that we need to compete with each other and start working on cooperating better, like working together. You escaped the rat race. I'm still a 14th Amendment citizen slave of the U.S., unfortunately. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, Olympic athletes are victims of another's ambition. Well, I could see that. So I guess I have a little bit of a story about that. When I was at university, I was having a problem with a coach who wanted me to train with an injury, and I ended up quitting the team. But she also brought up the Olympic trials to me. It was like, in a few months or 6 months or whatever, the Olympic trials are coming up this year, and I think you could be ready for them. And I just looked at her and said, yeah, I don't want to do that. And I was a little bit surprised that came out of my mouth. Because when I was a kid, I watched the Olympics and was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. I would love to be there one day. But then as I learned more about, how everything works, the more I kind of saw that kind of sports thing as this racket. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to be part of the Olympics. But then when it came to the point where I was actually being basically told, go to the Olympic trials. If you asked me what I was going to say, I would be like, it's going to be a toss-up. Because part of me is definitely going to want to go, but part of me is definitely going to want to be like, that's BS. I want nothing to do with it. So I was kind of, I don't know, maybe a little bit proud of myself, sort of. I don't know, in some weird way that when it came up, I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do it. Now, if my coach was better, I might think about it. But I was like, I definitely cannot do that with this coach. She's just, it doesn't matter. But yeah, a lot of people in sports are just, particularly with the Olympics, like amateur sports. The most disgusting thing about the Olympics is that there's just an insane amount of money being made by people who are not putting in the work. So all these athletes are just devoting their soul to these sports, and they're not getting anything out of it. I mean, they'll get some advertising, contracts maybe here and there and stuff, but there's basically no money in it for them. And any advertising money, it's like for the gold medalist. Like you got to be top of the top of the top. Meanwhile, there are all these athletes who are just killing themselves and like going bankrupt to do the training and to go to the Olympics and all this stuff. And there are these fat people sitting on their butts just raking in the money. Oh, it's just the whole thing is such a wreck. It's disgusting. Are you still a citizen of the US or Canada or elsewhere? I am legally a citizen of Canada. Although, I mean, I haven't been there and well, I guess I was in Canada right before we left North America. So like 10 years ago-ish was the last time I was in Canada. I haven't lived in Canada in like, I don't know, since high school, which is a long time ago. I'm 40. I'm 48. Yeah, I had a birthday, May 3rd. Yeah, I'm 48 now. I almost just said I'm 47. I'm 48. Of course, it's almost been a month and I still don't realize I'm 48. What are your opinions on mental health diagnosis? I know someone who diagnosed bipolar and they will go through periods when they sleep 2 to 4 hours a night and get a lot done. Well, I think like it really depends on the situation, but I think there are way too many mental health diagnoses that are just bullcrap. Like all the kids being given Ritalin because they can't sit still for 8 hours. Like a child. Hey, child. Hey, 8-year-old. Sit at a desk for 8 hours and listen to some boring, mundane adult just drone on and on at you, and you sit there, or else you have a mental illness. And we're gonna have to inject you with crap. What the? Seriously? Any kid who's not like just like vibrating, just trying to get out of that chair, that's the people with the mental illness. Like every kid should be like throwing their book at the teacher and saying, "What the? Come on! This is not life. This is not what we should be doing. I'm a child. I need to be outside with the dirt. You want to teach me math? Let me build a sandcastle. I will learn math. Teach me how to build a sandcastle with math." You know, like we're not made, we didn't evolve to sit on ass. I'm sitting right now because I'm exhausted. I've been exhausted, but most of the time I'm always standing. No, we just did not evolve to sit around and just push buttons and read stuff and not physically do stuff. We evolved to do things. And then just, a lot of people have a lot of difficulty with the world because they're being controlled in ways that are not acceptable. That are not acceptable for a human to be controlled. But then because, the people in charge, they want people to be subservient and do what they're told, they just decide to diagnose anyone who resists, who sets up any kind of resistance as mentally unwell. And, gotta inject them with stuff. And it's really sick. It's really, really messed up. And I remember years and years ago, I'm pretty sure it was Obama. I saw him, and I didn't really watch a lot of TV, but I saw him on TV talking about this syndrome. I tried to look it up on the internet recently, but I couldn't find anything about it. I guess they kind of buried it because it didn't go over very well. But he was talking about something called what was it? Oppositional disobedience disorder. Is that what it was? Something like that. And talking about basically people who don't obey. That's they have some diagnosable mental illness and they need help, which is just so insane. Like you read a book like 1984, and back in the day when it was written, how many people here know what this book is even about? Anyway, it's about this dystopian future where everyone is controlled really strictly, and you have no freedom, like way less freedom than people had back then. But then if you read it today, it's kind of like, what? This is just kind of normal. Because like people are so controlled and restricted. And here's Here's kind of a sign that a society is having a problem. So at some point in time, marijuana, weed, was illegal, right? You can't have it, you can't sell it, you can't have it, right? You can't have weed, you can't smoke a joint, you can't do that. It's illegal. Get thrown in jail. So all these people are in jail for weed, right? And then the government decides, we just changed our mind. Okay, weed's illegal. Go ahead. At that point, you have to make a decision. You know, the lawmakers, the government, the people in charge, they have to make a decision. Okay, all these people who are in prison for weed, do we let them go? Because now it's legal? They didn't do anything wrong. Or do we keep them in jail? Now, what kind of society lets the people go and what kind of society keeps them in jail? Well, the society that lets them go says, okay, you didn't do anything wrong. Sorry, we thought you did, but you didn't. But since everything you did was fine and it was right, we're not punishing you anymore. Sorry about that, right? So that's a society based on what's right and wrong. Now, if you have a society based on obedience, they don't care if it's right or wrong. They care that you disobeyed. So if you were doing the weed when we said it was illegal, you stay in jail because you disobeyed us. And our society is all about obedience. And that's what we've got today. We've got governments that are all about obedience. And that's a slave culture. That's what slave culture is. It's all about obedience. It's not about what's right or wrong. It doesn't matter if you do the right thing or the wrong thing. If they tell you to do something and you don't do it, you are in trouble because you disobeyed. Doesn't matter if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, completely irrelevant. Once you are told by the boss to do something, you better do it. You better damn well obey. Slave society. That's why I can't participate in it. You know, any accomplishment that kind of society makes is just going to be short-lived. It's not the kind of thing that goes anywhere. You know, it's just this is how societies fall. You give up what's right and wrong, and you start focusing on stupid things like obedience, which is it's just narcissistic little bullies pushing people around. Oh, let's see. Am I still a citizen? Is that what I was just going on about? Oh yeah, mental health stuff. That's what we're talking about. Saying that dandelions are great soil builders. Oh, in Mumbletop. Oh, dandelions are great soil builders. How are they great soil builders? Like, should I leave the dandelions to grow? Should I grind them up and mix them into my dirt? What's the story there? Dandelions are great soil builders. Well, I'll get them to grow a lot more because I have some. I can thin out the plants around them and let them spread. I feel like Jaimie would want to qualify for the Olympics and then say no thanks. Yeah. Except I wouldn't even want to go to the trials unless they were close by. I don't know. Yeah. It's such a messed up thing because, like, you know, the Olympics is supposed to be this glorious, amazing thing, and they even made it like specifically for amateur athletes, so no money would be involved. Except then they twisted that, these freaking greedy psychos. They twisted it to be like, well, no money's involved for the athletes. Plenty of money for the people, you know, running the thing, the Olympic Committee. We're all swimming around in piles of money. Yeah. Dandelions in French equals peace and lit. Peace and lit. Piss the bed. Because eating them makes you wet the bed. Seriously? If I eat a bunch of dandelions, will it make me pee my bed? No. Really? Get out of here. School is prison and programming the populace for slavery. Yeah, totally. I mean, I was just talking about how our society is just a slave society based on obedience. And yeah, school, it's just, I could not I could not allow my kids to go to public school with a clear conscience. It's just disgusting. And we could do so much. Like the most frustrating thing isn't that we're doing all the stupid stuff. It's that we could do so much if we actually got our shit together and started putting effort into the right places and, started coming up with positive goals and got these freaking psychopaths out of the leadership positions and started doing things to make everyone's lives better and to start exploring more. I mean, we there's so much we could do. Humans are capable of so much amazingness. We're also capable of so much garbage, nonsense, destruction. We can basically do whatever we want. We're just doing dumb things. Not only dumb things, but just way too much dumb stuff. A public school in Massachusetts called the police on my stepson because he had his head down in class. They called the police. What do you even say to that? Seriously? That's just stupid. Patrick Engelman, teach your son civil rights now so he's not traumatized from the incident. Jaimie, stubborn? Shocked audience. Yes, I am stubborn. And I get a lot of crap for it, but I tell you, being stubborn is an incredibly useful thing. Hey guys, been watching auto racing. Toe Maters, have you been watching your buddy Grease Lightning drive around the track again? All right, good choice, not participating. Taprooted brings up nutrients. Okay, so these taprooted dandelions bring nutrients up from underground. What if my soil is like solid clay though? I don't know if that's gonna work. I could have done more. I could have won just one more argument on the internet. I could have watched one more hour of reality TV. Lord, please give me just another 30 minutes for Real Housewives. Okay, Reed Cook says, let them grow. Let the dandelions grow. We pulled him out of public school because it was just too crazy. Good. I'm so glad you pulled your kid out of public school. Or was it your kid or your step? Yeah, whoever. If you're in a situation where they're calling the police on a kid for putting their head down in class, oh my God, you got to get them out of there. Yeah, good job. Save that kid, man. Slave society, like finding a guy who filled a dangerous pothole. Oh God, I know. I was right what he did, but snubbed the authorities. Yeah, it was right what he did. Yeah, he was right. Yeah, that's why I just think our society is going downhill. It doesn't matter if you're doing the right or wrong thing. You can just spend all day doing good, doing the right things. But if the authorities decide you're not obeying right, you get fined, you get thrown in jail. It's just, it's so stupid. And it's all going to come crashing down. The people doing this crap, I don't know, maybe they're trying to run our society into the ground and cause a big reset. People talk about these big resets sometimes. I don't know. But it's just a mess and it's going in the wrong direction. The slave society and brainwashing was even more evident in the last few years. Yeah, I mean, in my lifetime, from when I became aware of what's going on to now, I've just seen things get worse and worse. And I've seen so many people just turn a blind eye or just say, well, I mean, everything's fine. We can ignore that. They'll see their neighbor getting arrested for nothing and say, oh, well, they must have been doing something bad. Yeah, I don't trust that guy anyway. And it's like their friend, or it was their friend, until they saw that. And then they're like, oh, well, it's just turn it back on them. Let's not stick together at all. It's just, yeah, it's pretty bad. NASCAR, best race ever. Good job, Tomaters. Good choice, Patrick. Leaving the USA to get away from mandatory schooling and vaccinations. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty messed up. Help break through something. And property taxes, slavery system. Yeah. No blankets. Try a chainmail blanket. I was thinking about a chainmail blanket because it would be cold, right? The weight and comfort, but also functions as an air conditioner. Genetically, less so your physical, but mental. Your IQ is not something you got by working hard. I wouldn't necessarily say that. You're head and shoulders above the average. Okay, so about my IQ. So I have an extremely high IQ, like really high. I don't know. Sometimes I'm weird about. I don't really want to tell people because they get weird about it. But a lot of that, like I'm not. My brain just doesn't just function well. Like I carefully curate any information that comes into my head and any ideas, and I fit things together, and I'm constantly kind of combing through and just keeping things organized. And it's not like I'm just smart. It takes it, there's a lot of active grooming for the type of intelligence I have. Um, so I wouldn't necessarily say that my IQ is something that I just got. Now, it could just be that, genetically I got the brain that would tell me to whatever. But I mean, if you start going down that hole, you start getting into, do we have free will or is everything already written? Like you're always going to do what you're going to do. So whichever choice you're going to make, that's the one you're always going to make, But yeah, I would, and if I take an IQ test and don't try, I get a much lower score. But if I take an IQ test and I try, I'll get like 190 something. Like I'll get a really high score. It's not something that's just like bloop. It's something I have to actually put work into. Your body, man. Almost anyone who works hard will be in good shape. Not Olympic, but shy of that, good shape. Well, yes. Anyone, although physically, I would say I've always been extremely durable. Like, and in comparison to a lot of other people. So I've always been able to train really hard on things. And other people will be like, I'm getting injuries and stuff, Jaimie is like a CEO only hiring the best brain reasoning algorithms. Yes, I'm like and this is something they don't teach you in school at all, which I think would be an extremely, like there should be a whole subject matter on thinking. You got math, you got English, there's like how to curate your own brain. That should be something like that would be a really useful thing to learn that applies to everything. Like anything you do with your brain, if you know how to run your own brain, and they should include like brain code in there. I've spoken about this a little bit before. Say you think about a tree, and then you take away the word tree, and then you take away the picture of a tree, and you take away all the superficial stuff about a tree, but you just keep that little wisp of an idea of tree, without the word or anything. Like that really bare bones idea that takes up almost no space in your brain, but it's like really vague and kind of barely there. That's what I call brain code. And if you can think in that kind of, it's almost like thinking subconsciously. But if you can think in that in brain code, you can, well, your brain can do a lot more because it's its own code. It's sort of like letting a machine run in its own machine code instead of forcing it to constantly, translate everything into English so you can communicate with it. So one of the things I do is I think in my own brain code, like the one that's just naturally in there. And I think that's something that, if taught, would be really useful for a lot of people. Because like the English language is great for communicating, although it's not even that great. It's kind of garbage, but it's fine. But like thinking in it is really inefficient. Anyway, yeah, learning how to curate your own mind, like anytime you take in information, like check it. and tag it. Like, what are the chances this is actually true? Okay, it seems like it's probably pretty true, but let's put an 84% probability and then put that in. But there might be something else. Like really curate your own mind. It makes a big difference in your life. Thumbs up, everyone. Hello, Mr. Landfill. Thumbs up to you too. My brain doesn't function well. For society, maybe, but you were able to build a home by yourself. What? Maybe you're, wait. Okay, Mike M said, my brain doesn't function well. For society, maybe, but you were able to build a home by yourself, move halfway across the continent, build machinery, build electronics, entertain, and inspire en masse. Well, I don't think I said my brain doesn't function well. I think I said it does function well, but a lot of it is because I'm constantly curating it, like manicuring my own thoughts and everything. You could be a quadriplegic retard, and I still watch you because of your values. Oh, thanks, man. That's what matters the most and shapes the world the most. Speaking of that, I was talking about how our society is basically a slave society that doesn't care if things are right or wrong, and that's just a really bad foundation on which to build anything. And it's always harder to start things with some kind of moral integrity. It's always harder to start. But if you start something with moral integrity, it always ends up with a much better foundation, and you can go further with it. And I would have to do a whole other video on how that ends up playing out. But like as time goes on, like if you started with a lie, it often ends up kind of growing and then biting you in the ass eventually. But if you start with moral integrity, like things like roadblocks come in the way, and there's no way they can come and attack you because you don't have any weakness, you don't have any holes in your plan because you did it right. So when you do things with moral integrity and you care what's right and wrong, you generally have a much more robust product, result, whatever, that has much more longevity. Oh, Jaimie, the brain likes to build models of reality. Right. Yes, the brain likes to build models of reality. So when you build your model of reality in your brain, take an interest in that. Pay attention to it. Don't just let any information get in there. Like anytime you get information, like think about the source. Where are you getting this information? Where's it coming from? Is that actually going to be a reliable source of information? Is this information going to be accurate? Is it going to withstand the test of time? Yeah. 11 less than 3. I don't know. There's something going on here I don't understand. Just like using stick frames to get by with the compute power you have. Just like using stick frames to get by with the compute power you have. Yeah, so if you don't have a lot of... Although, I think humans do have a lot of computing power. Obviously a computer can do like really specific calculations much faster than a human being. Like if you give it mathematical numbers. But if you start thinking in brain code, you can figure out some pretty amazing stuff. Like faster than a computer can figure it out. I mean, now there's like mega supercomputers that can figure out crazy amounts of stuff. But don't sell your own brain short. Human brains are pretty amazing, particularly if you figure out how to use it. All right. I've probably been rambling on enough here. I should shut up in a minute. Let me just reload the chats and see if I missed anything. All right. I'm at the end of comments. So I think this is a good time to shut my face and go, I don't know, maybe I'll have a snack and go to sleep. Good night, Britta. I hope things go well. You too, Mike. And I hope everyone out there, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, are having a good day. And, when you face your struggles, don't give up. I was in over my head. Yeah, that happens a lot. If you're in over your head somewhere, just keep being stubborn and keep pushing and keep going for it. Because if you keep pushing, those obstacles, make them give up. You keep pushing on them. They're going to crack and get out of your way. And a lot of times you don't see it coming, but they give out. So anyway, do your best. Keep kicking butt. And everyone have a good night. All right, I'm going to push this button here and get out of here.